Hi there, it's Carl Irwin, the Common Magician. I've got something interesting to share with you. I want you to think of a card, any card at all. I'm thinking of a card right now. You're thinking of a card. I'm thinking of a card. I'm thinking of the Ten of Hearts. Are you thinking of... No? No, you're thinking of the Queen of Diamonds? The Queen of Diamonds? I mean, that's close. My card's a red card, yours is a red. Mine's even, yours is even. Just two away, off by two. No, it's not close. Well, anyway. Queen of Diamonds, you said? Right, okay. Go ahead and I'm gonna drop the cards. Just say stop whenever you want. Right there. I'm gonna cut the deck, flip it, and take a look. Follow right down here. Right down to the break where the cards are face down, right where you cut, we have my card, the Ten of Hearts. Ten of Hearts. Now that's my card. Your card was what? Yours was the, what was it? The Queen of Diamonds? Let me correct this here. Look, what we're going to do is very simple. We're going to do the same thing again. I'm going to give it a good shuffle. Make sure that this is fair. Again, you're going to call stop anywhere in the middle. Right there? You sure? We flip, same thing, flip. If you follow down here, right where you cut, Queen of Diamonds, Queen of Diamonds. So this is about making excuses. This is about making excuses or creating an excuse to see the cards. Right, to actually get control from a thought of card situation. So the spectator can think of a card, name any card. The deck is shuffled. There's no preparation. It's not a memorized deck. It's not an ordered deck in any way. But we have to create an environment in which we can see the cards in order to get control of it. But we want to disguise the moment. Right? It's not like they name a card and then we set the deck out there and then we first find the card, lose the card, find the card again. Or they name a card, we have the deck spread up and there's obvious opportunity. What we do is we create an additional layer, one that delays the finding of the thought of card, while also completing an improbable or magical effect or an outcome, right? But two, also creates a moment where we can see the cards and get control in a natural kind of manner. So this is this Lynn Searle's So Simple force. And it's kind of, I describe this as, it's like half of a cut deeper force, right? The cut deeper force is where you're forcing a top card, say the Six of Diamonds, and you have someone cut a small packet, turn it over and set it back on top of the deck, and then you have someone else cut a little deeper, cut a larger packet, turn that over, set it on, and then what you do is you spread, and the first place that the cards are face down is where you're forcing the card. It's actually the top card of the deck. So the simple force is a similar idea. We're going to force the Ace of Clubs, but what happens here is there's a cut that's made. They call stop, and you turn the deck over, and that would put the top card up against the break. And then if you turn the deck face down, turn it over so that what was face down is now face up, and give it a spread, you've now inserted the top card into the middle, thereby forcing it. It's kind of a discrepancy move that is hard to see. It really just looks like this is happening. Like you're cutting to the spot and then you're showing the card that's at the cut. But that's not what's actually happening. You're forcing the other side. So we're going to use this as a force. I cover this in my Penguin Download Open Mic. I demonstrate this use in another way. But this is from a thought of card, a card that's named. In the open mic iteration of it, it's actually a card that is discovered through opportunity. Like, I don't know what the top card is, and they would call stop, and then I'm forcing an unknown card, which seems weird. I'm forcing it, but I'm not using it as a force. And we find the the King of Diamonds, but this gives me opportunity, and this is the issue that I want to get at. It gives me an opportunity from this card that's been revealed in a natural way from a stopped selection to scan and find the mate. So I already have this face up. Half the deck is face up, and this is the opportunity. I've created an excuse to have this moment, right? So we have the card, and I can see that I have the King of Hearts right here. So as I gather the cards up and I go to write the deck to do it again, all I have to do is cut at the King of Hearts, cut it to now the top, and I turn this over. And I'm free to do a real shuffle as long as I maintain that top card at the top. It's still in the same place to perform the same force again, now this time as a force. So they can call stop, and I turn it over, and then of course we find it right there. Okay, and the effect, I call this checkmate on the open mic download. What we're doing here, though, is the same idea, but we're doing it from a named card. And rather than force an unknown card, I'm going to force a card that I call. So we get the cards back, maybe they shuffled them. I glance the bottom card, and I shuffle it to the top. And I just have to call this as my card, the Eight of Diamonds. Now, there is opportunity here, though. There's more to it than just creating an excuse to look at half the deck. By the way, if I don't see the card I need in the part that's face up, then I know that it's in the side that's face down. So all I have to do is collect and turn it over, and then I'm going to write the opposite side of the deck, and as I go through, I cut at the card. So I'm narrowing down where the card is at. If I don't see it in the face up side, then I know it's in the face down side. I collect, I turn it over, and then I know I'm going to find it there, just as an aside. But I know I'm going to force my Eight of Diamonds over here. So I say, I want you to think of a card. I'm thinking of a card. You're thinking of a card. I'm thinking of the Eight of Diamonds. Now, there's a chance that they're thinking of the Eight of Diamonds. Now, if you really want to do this invest in probability, you should maybe pick a card that is more commonly named. Hearts. Hearts are commonly named. Values in hearts that are commonly named: Queen, Ace, King. Those are probably one of those three would be one of the more commonly named cards. You could just shuffle call it, face up shuffle call that to the top, whichever one is more opportunistic, and then that way you are investing in some probability that they might name a commonly named card. And then you have a great effect. You say, I'm thinking of the blah blah blah, and they say, I'm thinking of the blah blah blah, and then that's the end of the effect. Except that you are set for a phase, right? Now you actually have that card on top. So in the coincidence that they named the card that you have, if you're investing in that probability, now you can say, and look, watch, just go ahead and call stop anytime you like, call stop, and then you perform the force straight out, and you say, and if you look right here, you've actually found the card, right? So that's what you do if they happen to name the card. You can invest in probability and pick a commonly thought of card and then force it back out on that. However, if they don't call the card that you have, Eight of Diamonds in this case, let's say they call Queen of Hearts. Well, let's do a different one. So let's say they call the Jack of Spades, Jack of Spades. You say, oh, well, I was thinking of the Eight of Diamonds. You're thinking of the Jack of Spades. Well, that's kind of close, right? No, it's not close at all. That's a total failure. They're nothing alike, not at all. But I was thinking of the Eight of Diamonds. You have the Jack of Spades. So go ahead and tell me when to stop. And now you're doing a revelation, a stop revelation, which is in itself impossible. I could just do this as a trick on its own. I could name a card and have them stop and then have them find it. Okay, I could do that. But what I'm actually looking for is the Jack of Spades. And I see that it's 50% of the deck here. It's right here. So I say if you look at the first face down card, I draw their attention to this, and this is really out of sight, out of mind. By the way, there's other opportunity. Let me stop here for a moment. You could do this, and there's another possibility for a couple of coincidences. You could have the Jack of Spades end up right next to the first face down card, in which case you could say, and if you look right here at the first face down card, right next to that, we have the Jack of Spades. And now you've found their card that they thought of. The other possibility is that it's on the top. And even though this doesn't seem logical at all, you could do this and say, and you can see right here where you cut is the Jack of Spades, and just take it off of the top and show it to them. It's been found. So those are other two additional probabilities. So just from probability, from the standpoint of probability, we've decreased the probability, or rather increased the probability that we actually find a freely thought of card because we have several outs. First, we have one where we named one that could have been the same. Second, it could have been here or it could have been there, which increases our probability of finding it. However, that's not the case. I see that it's right here. So I say if you look at the first face down card, you can see that we have this selection, and it happens to be the card that I was thinking of, the 8 of Diamonds. Now you were thinking of what? The Jack of Spades? Now let me write the deck here, and we'll give this a shuffle just to be completely fair. This is the one time when you would do a shuffle and actually point out that you're shuffling the cards, because it is a legitimate shuffle. And they think that they're making selections from the middle of the deck. So this seems very, very off-putting, right? You do the shuffle, you can, do the cascade finish or whatever, but I've actually preserved the force card that I now cut to the top, at the top, because I just retained it at the top. And then I just do the same force again. I say stop, they stop you, and then you do the same flip you say, and you can see right here, if we follow down here, the first face down card right where you cut is actually the card you were thinking of. You found my card and your card. So you have two revelations, one of them from a card they thought of, from a deck that didn't seem to be controlled in any way, right? Conversely, let's say that this was the situation the first time. Jack of Spades was the card they called, and we've done the flip. And I scan, I don't see the Jack there. I say, look at the first face down card, and you can see what we have here. You found my card, the 8 of Diamonds. I know the Jack of Spades is over here. So what I do is I collect and I turn it over. And I say, you were thinking of what? The Jack of Spades, right? And then I can write the deck, and I just cut it from the other side, because I know it's over there. I know it's over there because it wasn't on the other side. And then I do my shuffle, say, let's just mix the cards again to make this very fair. Go ahead and say stop anytime you like. They say stop, you turn it, and of course you can do the revelation. Other opportunities. There's some other opportunities to see the face-up cards, right? You could do a Leonard Green sloppy kind of presentation, right? Danny DeOrtiz does stuff like this. He's a little bit more on the nose about it. He'll just drop the cards on the table face up, face down, and turn them, and then as soon as he sees what he needs, he grabs it. But let's say they name a card the 2 of Hearts. Now, I just want to point this out. You have more options than what you think. They name the 2 of Hearts, but I don't have to go for the 2 of Hearts. I really could go for any 2, as long as I move the goalposts, right? The goalposts for the revelation. I don't necessarily have to go for that one. I could go for a mate, and mate can mean anything. Mate doesn't have to mean 2 of Diamonds, the other red one. It could be any one of the black ones, and I just call it the mate. But I do have that opportunity, keep in mind, right? I don't necessarily have to go for the 2 of Hearts. If something is more advantageous that gives me an out, I should go for that. But you have a lot of options. Shuffle deck and use freely named card. You could say, look, we're really going to shuffle these cards. I'm going to take one side of it and I'm going to turn it the other way, and I'm going to shuffle these together. In fact, you can see here the situation. Now, right now, I get a glance. I see a bunch of face-up cards, right? I can say you can see that everything is shuffled. In fact, we'll shuffle this even more. And now I can turn cards over, and I can shuffle them. I say, come on, why don't you come on and get in on it? As soon as I see that 2 of Hearts, I'm going to reach out and grab it and turn it and keep it in my control. They can shuffle whatever they want. Now, you're not going to really enjoy this, but I want to show you a possibility. I have their card, or I went for a mate or something that was advantageous, something that can get me a conclusion. I grab the card, I scoop with it, it's face down, and I start to collect. Now I'm just controlling this card at the bottom as I pick up. It is going to be at the bottom of my stack when I'm done picking up. I can turn it so I can see it to verify. It's right here. Once I've done that, I can square and I can say, and we'll give this a few more shuffles. Now this is a mixed up deck if ever there was one, yes? And then I'm going to say, look, why don't you reach out, take one finger, go ahead, reach out, touch any face down card you see from the middle. So they'll touch, and let's say they touch that one, and I'll out jog it. And this is going to seem weird, but you're just going to do like the prophecy move, Bill Simon prophecy move. And there's other ways that you could do any kind of a discrepancy force where you're forcing the bottom card. But this is a good one. I out jog it and I say, actually, I want you to see this. Now, the probability this is your card is very low. In fact, it's not. It's the 8 of clubs. But right here in the middle, I do want to point out that where you touched is actually right next to another card right here. And that happens to be the 2 of hearts. Nobody really is able to keep track of what's going on here. Okay, it doesn't matter that things change on the top and bottom when you do the shifting motion of the prophecy move and the turning over. It's too hard to keep up with what's going on. You don't need to worry about that. You're just having them make free selections. They're stopping at points. They seem to have control over it. It's a very disorganized situation. You don't seem to have opportunity to get control at all when they're making the decisions, but actually you've created excuses to see cards, and it gives you a chance to get control. So anyway, opportunities to get control, creating excuses to actually see the faces of the cards without overtly just spreading the cards face up, right? Which is a fine strategy too, by the way. I mean, this is part of the way that the trick that cannot be explained, right, has that as the final resort, right? Last resort. If they name a card, 4 of diamonds, right, and I take the cards, I have them cut and turn over, right, and I can say it's not here, it's not here, it's not in the middle, and I say, why don't you go ahead and cut? Say it's, hopelessly lost. Obviously, it's not here, it's not on the top, it's not on the bottom. It's somewhere in the middle. You have to spread. You have to get a glance. You're going to have to find it, right? And then from here, you can either get to it through a spelling or have them cut close to it or whatever, or do some kind of a table shift to get it into place so that they can cut. So there's other opportunities to see the full spread. What I'm saying is you can create excuses and opportunity to see some of the cards at some time, to rule out those some of the cards and then see other cards at another time, or again move the goalposts and go for a mate, whatever is more advantageous. Just making sure that you realize you're going to get to a good end. That's a guarantee. It's an absolute certainty. You're going to get to a good end, but you create for yourself in the routine opportunity to get some control over either something they called out or something related to it. And you have strategies to get to, branches by which you can get to some kind of good end. So just a few thoughts there for you, some of it from the Open Mic Project, tied in with some other thoughts. Just an opportunity to get a look at the cards using that Lynn Searle's So Simple force. Really, really good force. And again, it's just, I like the force not even for the fact that it is a force. I like the force just because it gives me half of the cards face up. It seems like a natural thing that happens for the purpose of locating this card, but it's an opportunity. I can see half the deck and I can rule out the other half of the deck, or rule in the other half of the deck, I should say. So if I don't see what I need here, I know that it's over there, and I have to write this situation to go on. So I can just turn over, cut whatever I need to, And then I can cover my tracks by doing a completely fair shuffle. I'm just controlling the one card on the top. They think they're picking something from in the middle, but I'm forcing that one card, two of spades, right, from the other side of the deck. So just a few options for you there to consider, opportunities that are not so bold as that, which is fine. Like, this is a fine way to do it. I will say this, look, if you're going to take this strategy, I have found for myself, the better strategy is to give yourself the opportunity at the onset. You say, shuffle the cards. They shuffle the cards. You say, look, you can see it's a very, very clean, thorough mix. Think of any card. Name any card at all that comes to mind, right? They name the card 8 of diamonds. I take a quick scan down through, and then I do my shift. The reason why this is better is because it's sitting, and I did get it, right? I got it. The reason why this works better is because at the onset, the cards are already facing up on the pretense, false pretense of verifying that they're shuffled. Of course they're shuffled. They shuffled them. But I have this false pretense of demonstrating that they are shuffled. But really, the pretense is for me to get a look at the cards when they name something. So I'm already in a good position. They name a card that comes to their mind. I don't have to do something after the fact to get control. I have control at the onset. They name the card 10 of diamonds. I scan through, and then if I see it, I can do my shift. Now, I know it's near the top, but I don't know that it's at the top. Okay, so now I can do some other things. I could thumb off a few cards, right? And then I could say, now I just really want you to picture this in your mind. And now I can run from the bottom and get control and put it where I need to be. But I can get close. And now I can do cover my tracks again. I've got it here, right? I've got a lot of possibilities once I get it where I need it to be. And then I can do my force or however you want to reveal it to get there. So ways to get a look at the deck. If you're going to do or look at the face of the cards, if you're going to do a table shift spread, I recommend that you start from this position under the false pretense of demonstrating shuffled cards and then move on from there. Otherwise, yeah, again, I come back to this. The So Simple Force, it gives me a view of half the deck. Then I can rule in the other half if it's not there. So different ways to use that. Another concept, just to recap. In addition to gaining access to the cards and face up and finding ways to do that, also the addition of an additional effect that is dovetailed with the effect that we're really after does two things. You create an escalation of effect. For example, if we go back to the first demonstration, I think of a card that they find, they think of a card that they find. Them finding a card that I think of is not quite as strong as them finding a card that they think of. So what you have is I name a card, they name a card, they find my card, then they find their card. This is actually escalating in terms of improbability, right? They find mine, then they find theirs, and the fact that they find mine is actually facilitating the method for them finding theirs. Okay, so two things. You create an escalation of effect, which is good. That's good in Magic to have effects improving with each revelation. They get a little more improbable or impossible. But also, by creating a layer, I create opportunity for the more impossible effect, for me to actually get control. So you're actually doing two things at one time. You're generating opportunity, but you're also creating escalation. Both of those things are good, right? So routining. Whenever you're trying, if your goal in Magic is for them to name a card and for you to reveal it in some impossible way, routining that can be part of your method. Rather than just doing that trick straight away, treat that trick as the finale, the grand finale of a routine that facilitates that end and finding a way to accomplish that. So a bunch of thoughts for you that you can take in a number of different directions, and a few really, really accessible moves that help you to do it with that so simple force. So good luck with that. Happy magicking.